All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11 a.m. today. Prime Minister to launch 5G services in India on October the 1st. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says India is firm on zero tolerance towards cross-border terrorism. India reiterates its stand on peaceful dialogue and diplomacy as key to resolve Ukraine conflict. Delhi Lieutenant Governor V.K. Saxena orders FIR against Delhi Jal Board officials and others over embezzlement of 20 crore rupees in water bills. Government's flagship program Make in India completes 8 years today. In cricket, Indian women beat England by 16 runs in third and final ODI to clinch the series 3-0. And third and final T20 international between India and Australia to be played in Hyderabad this evening. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio at 11 a.m. today. It will be the 93rd episode of the monthly radio program. The program will be broadcast on the entire network of All India Radio and Doordarshan, AIR News website and News on AIR mobile app. It will also be live streamed on the YouTube channels of AIR News, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate 5G services in the country at India Mobile Congress at Pragati Maidan in New Delhi on October the 1st. In a tweet, National Broadband Mission, which operates under the Ministry of Communications, said the rollout of 5G services in the country will take India's digital transformation and connectivity to new heights. Union Ministers Ashwini Vaishnav, Nirmala Sitharaman and Dharmendra Pradhan, among others, will be present at Asia's largest technology exhibition. Reliance Industries Chairman Mukesh Ambani, Bharti Airtel's Sunil Mittal and Vodafone Idea India head Ravinder Takkar will also be on stage with the Prime Minister on the occasion. India Mobile Congress, planned from 1st to the 4th of October, is being jointly organized by the Department of Telecommunications and Cellular Operators Association of India. India Mobile Congress 2022 will focus on the evolution path of existing technology and what it holds for businesses and individuals for the future through meaningful dialogues.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has said India is firm on a zero-tolerance approach to cross-border terrorism. Addressing the 77th high-level session of UN General Assembly in New York last night, he said India has borne the brunt of cross-border terrorism for decades. He said the countries that defended proclaimed terrorists in the UN neither advanced their own interests nor their reputation.
Having borne the brunt of cross-border terrorism for decades, India firmly advocates a zero-tolerance approach. In our view, there is no justification for any act of terrorism regardless of motivation, and no rhetoric, however sanctimonious, can ever cover up bloodstains. The United Nations responds to terrorism by sanctioning its perpetrators. Those who politicize the UNSC 1267 sanctions regime, sometimes even to the extent of defending proclaimed terrorists, they do so at their own peril. Believe me, they advance neither their own interests nor indeed their reputation.
On Ukraine, India reiterated its stand on peaceful dialogue and diplomacy as key to resolve the Ukraine conflict. Dr. Jaishankar said Prime Minister Narendra Modi, during a meeting with President Vladimir Putin at the SCO summit, had asserted that India believed in a peaceful resolution and was concerned about the ongoing conflict.
We are on the side that respects the UN Charter and its founding principles. We are on the side that calls for dialogue and diplomacy as the only way out. We are on the side of those struggling to make ends meet, even as they stare at the escalating costs of food, of fuel and fertilizers. It is therefore in our collective interest to work constructively both within the United Nations and outside in finding an early resolution to this conflict. We believe and advocate that this is not an era of war or of conflict. On the contrary, it is a time for development and for cooperation.
Dr. Jaishankar said India is confident under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi. He said the government has resolved to make India a developed country in the next 25 years. External Affairs Minister lauded India's economic growth in the past 75 years. He pointed out that colonialism had reduced India to one of the poorest nations, but today India is the fifth biggest economy in the world. Dr. Jaishankar further talked about India's COVID vaccine initiative that had aided over 100 nations. He said, even as we meet our own development targets, India offers partnerships to our brothers and sisters in Asia, Africa and Latin America.
National good and global good can be entirely in harmony. Even as we meet our own development targets, India offers partnerships to our brothers and sisters in Asia, in Africa and Latin America. And we do so based on their needs and their priorities. In these turbulent times, it is essential that the world listens to more voices of reason and experiences more acts of goodwill. India is willing and able on both counts.
Dr. Jaishankar said in its pursuit of climate action and justice, India has worked with partners on the International Solar Alliance, the One Sun, One World, One Grid initiative and the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure.
We stand ready to support any collective and equitable endeavor to protect our environment and to further global wellness. Lifestyle for environment or life is our homage to Mother Nature. India remains deeply committed to fighting climate change under the UNFCCC and the Paris Agreement. We do so on the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities in the light of different national circumstances.
Delhi Lieutenant Governor Vinay Kumar Saxena has ordered an FIR to be lodged against officials of the Delhi Jal Board DJP, a bank and a private company for alleged embezzlement of 20 crore rupees in water bills. The Lieutenant Governor directed the Delhi Chief Secretary Naresh Kumar to have an FIR lodged in the matter against the DJB and bank officials after identifying them as well as the private entities involved. The LG also asked the official to ensure the recovery of the funds at the earliest. The matter had first come to light in 2019 with the allegation that 20 crore rupees collected in water bills from consumers was not deposited in the bank account of DJB. The government's flagship program, Make in India, completes 8 years today. The Make in India initiative, which was launched in 2014 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, aspires to facilitate investment, foster innovation, enhance skill development, and build best-in-class manufacturing infrastructure. Make in India has substantial accomplishments across 27 sectors, which include strategic sectors of manufacturing and services as well. The government is focusing on key sectors like semiconductors to achieve Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Recognizing the importance of semiconductors in the world economy, the government has launched a $10 billion incentive scheme to build a semiconductor display design ecosystem in India. Complemented by sincere efforts of domestic toy manufacturers, the growth of Indian toy industry has been remarkable in less than 2 years despite COVID-19 pandemic. The import of toys in 2021-22 have reduced by 70% to $110 billion. India's export of toys registered tremendous growth of 636% during the months of April to August this year over the same period of 2013. We have more from our correspondent.
Make in India program is transforming the country into a leading global manufacturing and investment destination. The initiative is an open invitation to potential investors and partners across the globe to participate in the growth story of New India. To attract foreign investments, the government has put in place a liberal and transparent policy wherein most sectors are open to foreign direct investment under the automatic route. FDI inflows in India, which stood at $45.15 billion in 2014-2015, reached a record FDI inflows for 8 years. The year 2021-22 recorded the highest ever FDI of $83.6 billion. The production-linked incentive scheme launched across 14 key manufacturing sectors is also giving a boost to Make in India initiative. With this initiative at the forefront, the businesses in India are aiming that the products that are made in India are also made for the world, adhering to global standards of quality. Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
In Morning Matters, now let us listen to a discussion on Make in India, Make for India and Abroad. The participants are Sumita Davra, Additional Secretary, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, and Sonu Sood, AIR Correspondent.
In September 2014, PM Narendra Modi launched the Make in India initiative to transform the country into a leading global manufacturing and investment destination. But how do you see the 8-year journey of the Make in India program? How far has it improved the investment climate and boosted manufacturing in our country?
As we look back on 8 years of Make in India, we noticed that the foreign direct investment annual figure has doubled in these 8 years alone. To achieve the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, for instance, if you see reducing the compliance burden for businesses, enhancing the ease of doing business, decriminalizing burdensome legislation, plus the production-linked incentive has given a big boost to manufacturing in the country. The public procurement order has been given, national single window system has been operationalized, and labor codes have been simplified. So, number of such measures have been taken to make the investment and manufacturing environment in the country more conducive to growth of manufacturing and making in India.
Ma'am, the latest $10 billion scheme to build a semiconductor ecosystem in India, does it embody the targeted approach of the government where specific steps to boost manufacturing are taken in key sectors where they are required on a priority to achieve Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of an Atmanirbhar Bharat?
Yes, this is a very unique scheme where the importance of semiconductors in the world economy and for the economy of the country has been recognized. An amount of $10 billion has been kept aside for this incentive scheme to build a semiconductor display and design ecosystem in the country. So it is a boon to the manufacturing sector and to making us Atmanirbhar.
What all steps have been taken and will be taken to attract foreign direct investment in the country? We all know that from $45 billion in 2014-15, FDI inflows have steadily grown to reach record FDI of $83.6 billion in 2021-22 despite the pandemic. Can we hope for $100 billion FDI in the current financial year?
There is a FDI policy, a foreign direct investment policy, which Government of India has, and most of the sectors have been open to FDI, to foreign direct investments under the automatic route, which means you do not need government approval process for that. Now, that is a very liberal policy and it encourages foreign direct investments into the country. As we noticed in 2014-15, the foreign direct investment inflows in the country stood at around $45 billion. And every year for the last 8 years, we have recorded consecutively record FDI inflows. And these were about $84 billion in 21-22, and this year we are on track to attract $100 billion FDI in the country.
India, being the fastest growing major economy in the world, put it at an advantage?
We are a billion plus population, so that is a big domestic market. At the same time, our labor cost is so low. And then I've also mentioned all the policies under the dynamic leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister of Make in India, which is transforming the country into a leading manufacturing hub. The Gati Shakti program, which looks at improving connectivity in the country and reducing the cost of logistics. All these factors have gone to attracting more investments into the country and making India a manufacturing hub.
This policy of Make in India aims to encourage domestic manufacturers' participation in public procurement activities over entities merely importing to trade or assemble items. Will this promote a local industry?
There is a public procurement Make in India order which was issued in 2017 to enable encouraging domestic manufacturing. So the public procurement order prioritizes domestic manufactured goods.
Ma'am, the Prime Minister has time and again emphasized the importance of R&D, innovation and adherence to global standards of quality. Would you say are also key elements for long-term rapid growth and development of the country?
If we meet global standards, only then we are competitive in the world markets. And last year's export achievement, which has been a historic high at about $670 billion USD, is very encouraging and inspiring. So we have to now improve on that by meeting global standards in quality. So all this is a very much part of Make in India and Make in India for the world.
Zavra, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11 a.m. today. Prime Minister to launch 5G services in India on October 1st. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says India is firm on zero tolerance towards cross-border terrorism. India reiterates its stand on peaceful dialogue and diplomacy as key to resolve Ukraine conflict. Delhi Lieutenant Governor V.K. Saxena orders FIR against Delhi Jal Board officials and others over embezzlement of 20 crore rupees in water bills. Government's flagship program Make in India completes 8 years today. In cricket, Indian women beat England by 16 runs in third and final ODI to clinch the series 3-0. And third and final T20 international between India and Australia to be played in Hyderabad this evening. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
देश भर में धूम मचाए ज्ञान का ये उपहार, मोबाइल पे आजादी क्वेस्ट आया आजादी का इतिहास। डाउनलोड करे आजादी क्वेस्ट, ये लो जीतो ढेरों इनाम, मौका पाए जुड़ने का रेडियो और डीडी के साथ। सिर्फ खेल नहीं उत्सव है, आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव है, आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव है।
डाउनलोड करें आजादी क्वेस्ट ऐप और पाएं ढेरों इनाम।
BJP National President JP Nadda arrives in Kochi this morning on a 2-day visit to Kerala. Mr. Nadda will listen to the Prime Minister's Mann Ki Baat program along with Karyakartas at the Srirangam Auditorium at Chengamanad in Ernakulam district. He will also participate in the Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay commemoration program.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah will be on a 3-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir from the 30th of this month. He will pay obeisance at Sri Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine, address 2 mega rallies, chair high-level security review meeting and review developmental activities. Mr. Shah will arrive in Jammu in the evening of September 30. He will pay obeisance at the shrine of Sri Mata Vaishno Devi in the Trikuta Hills on October 1st before addressing a mega rally in border district of Rajouri on the same day. After his public rally at Rajouri, the Home Minister will return to Jammu the same day and inaugurate Jammu-Akhnur flyover along Jammu-Poonch National Highway and several other projects. He will also chair a meeting of senior BJP leaders before leaving for Srinagar in the evening. India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 217 crore 54 lakh mark. More than 12 lakh 28,000 vaccine doses were administered. Union Health Ministry said cumulative first dose of COVID vaccine have been administered to over 102 crore 45 lakh beneficiaries and second dose have been administered to more than 94 crore 76 lakh beneficiaries.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for crores of people across the country. All India Radio is celebrating 75 years of freedom with a series Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashvani ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio. In today's episode, we bring you the story of One Nation, One Tax, GST, which binds India into an economic union, promotes Make in India, and has improved ease of doing business.
The introduction of the Goods and Services Tax (GST) is a very significant step in the field of indirect tax reforms in India. By amalgamating a large number of central and state taxes into a single tax, GST mitigates ill effects of cascading or double taxation in a major way and paves the way for a common national market. GST was launched on the 1st of July 2017 in a majestic ceremony held in the Central Hall of Parliament on the midnight of 30th June 2017. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says it is a revolutionary taxation system for the digital India. He said GST is not just a tax reform, but it is a landmark step towards economic and social reforms.
जीएसटी के तौर पर देश एक आधुनिक टैक्सेशन सिस्टम की ओर आज कदम रख रहा है, बढ़ रहा है। एक ऐसी व्यवस्था है जो ज्यादा सरल है, ज्यादा पारदर्शी है, जो काले धन को और भ्रष्टाचार को रोकने में एक अवसर प्रदान करती है। एक ऐसी व्यवस्था है जो ईमानदारी को अवसर देती है, जो ईमानदारी से व्यापार करने के लिए एक नया उत्साह और उमंग भरने की व्यवस्था इससे मिलती है। एक ऐसी व्यवस्था है जो नए गवर्नेंस के कल्चर को भी लेकर के आती है और जिसके द्वारा जीएसटी हम लेकर के आए।
From the consumer's point of view, the biggest advantage is in terms of reduction in the overall tax burden on goods. With this, the actual burden of indirect taxes on goods and services has become more transparent to the consumer. GST has been introduced to make Indian products competitive in the domestic and international markets owing to the full neutralization of input taxes across the value chain of production and distribution. It also encourages a shift from the informal to formal economy. Introduction of e-way bill ensures hassle-free movement of goods throughout the country. Senior economic expert Manoj Raut says that GST has replaced multi-layered complex indirect tax structure with a simple, transparent and technology-driven tax regime.
GST, this is one of the most innovative measure, one of the biggest reform that the government of India has taken in the recent past. This will be one of the gateway to the reform measures as far as the taxation in our country is concerned. And we had so many complicated, tax issues and many industries, individuals, they have been struggling, since its independence. And if you look at, our population, 1.4 billion population, and still there are only 8 and some odd number the taxpayers. So now the question is, and so every individual, the citizen has equal right, and how to really everyone, every individual contributes to our nation building. So this is the GST. It's one of the innovative measure, and that has come into force. I think we have to do a lot more in the coming years, and making every individual, every corporate house, every industry that to be accountable, and how they can contribute effectively, and this will help to for our nation building.
Before implementation of GST, Indian taxation system was a farrago of central, state and local area levies. India has adopted dual GST model because of its unique federal nature. Under this model, tax is levied concurrently by the centre as well as the states on a common base. GST levied by the centre is called Central GST, Central Tax CGST, and that being levied by the states is called State GST, State Tax or SGST. It is called UTGST, Union Territory Tax in the Union Territories without legislature. GST will have a multiplier effect on the economy with benefits accruing to various sectors such as exporters, small traders and entrepreneurs, agriculture and industry, common consumers. GST has promoted Make in India campaign and has improved the ease of doing business in India. GST has paved the way for one nation, one tax, one market.
Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashwani ke saath can be accessed on @AIR News Alerts on Twitter, News on AIR official YouTube channel, News on AIR app, Facebook and Instagram handles. So tune into All India Radio News for Azad Bharat Ki Baat Akashwani ke saath. Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandaviya will inaugurate Arogya Manthan 2022 today to celebrate the 4 years of implementation of Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. The scheme provides a health cover of 5 lakh rupees annually to vulnerable families and aims at benefiting more than 10 crore poor families across the country. This scheme was launched by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in September 2018. The 2-day event will see participation from global and national experts from the healthcare sector, along with representatives from academia, think tanks, industry and media.
Going over to sports now. In women's cricket, India beat England by 16 runs in the third and last ODI of the series at Lord's Cricket Stadium last night. India sealed a three-match ODI series win 3-0. Chasing the target of 170 runs set by India, England were all out for 153 in 43.4 overs. Earlier put in to bat by the hosts, India were bowled out for 169 runs in 45.4 overs. For the visitors, Deepti Sharma was the top scorer with an unbeaten 68 runs, while Smriti Mandhana scored 50 runs. 5 Indian players were unable to score any run. For hosts, Charlotte Dean was the top scorer with 47 runs. For visitors, Renuka Singh scalped 4 wickets, Jhulan Goswami and Rajeshwari Gaikwad took 2 wickets each, and Deepti Sharma claimed a wicket. Renuka Singh was declared player of the match and Harmanpreet Kaur was declared player of the series. The Indian team won the first game by 7 wickets, bagged the second game by 88 runs. The match at Lord's, London gives Harmanpreet Kaur's led side a golden opportunity to complete a series sweep over England and give a memorable farewell to Goswami, who has been India's bowling spearhead for over a decade. The legendary pacer has played 12 tests, 205 ODIs and 68 T20s for India. She ended her career with 355 international wickets. The 39-year-old fast bowler from West Bengal is among the greatest players India has ever produced. In cricket, the third and final T20 international between India and Australia will be played in Hyderabad today. The match will start at 7 p.m. The Rohit Sharma-led team bounced back in style by winning the second T20 international at Nagpur by 6 wickets on Friday. Chasing 91 for victory, India overhauled the target with 6 wickets in hand and 4 balls to spare. Australia won the first T20 international by 4 wickets. The winner of today's match will lift the trophy.
And now let's look at the weather across the country today. National capital Delhi will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will hover between 21 and 28 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius and the maximum is expected to be 33 degrees. Chennai will have thunderstorm with rain. Minimum temperature 27, maximum will be 36. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with the possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. The temperature will hover between 28 and 35 degrees. Jammu and Srinagar will have partly cloudy sky with the possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. In Jammu, the minimum temperature was 23 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 32 degrees. In Srinagar, minimum was 17, maximum will be 26. Muzaffarabad will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. The minimum temperature was recorded at 20 degrees Celsius and maximum will be around 35 degrees. Leh and Gilgit will have generally cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. In Leh, the minimum temperature was 5 degrees, maximum will be 19. Gilgit, minimum was 11 and maximum will be 31 degrees.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Hindustan Times quotes Dr. S. Jaishankar as saying that India is on the side of peace in Ukraine while addressing the UN General Assembly. The Indian Express headline quoting from Dr. Jaishankar's speech reads, "World needs to hear reason, experience goodwill, India willing and able on both." India reacts sharply to Pak PM's UN speech over Jammu and Kashmir, writes the statesman. Delhi crawled as rain in past week 9 times the normal, reads the headline in Hindustan Times. The paper carries a photograph of a waterlogged stretch of National Highway 48. In Punjab, the farmers are worried due to incessant rain as paddy is ready for harvesting, writes the Tribune. PM Modi to launch 5G services on October 1, headlines Hindustan Times. A news item in the Times of India revealed that Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam's world's richest Hindu endowment body controls properties worth 85,000 crore rupees across India. And finally, the Asian Age carries an emotional photograph of Roger Federer with Rafael Nadal at the Laver Cup doubles match with the caption, "Tearful Roger Federer bows out of tennis."
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11 a.m. today. Prime Minister to launch 5G services in India on October the 1st. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says India's firm on zero tolerance towards cross-border terrorism. India reiterates its stand on peaceful dialogue and diplomacy as key to resolve Ukraine conflict. Delhi Lieutenant Governor V.K. Saxena orders FIR against Delhi Jal Board officials and others over embezzlement of 20 crore rupees in water bills. Government's flagship program Make in India completes 8 years today. In cricket, Indian women beat England by 16 runs in third and final ODI to clinch the series 3-0, and third and final T20 international between India and Australia to be played in Hyderabad this evening. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.